The rain fell in steady sheets, drumming against the windshield of Simon's old Chevrolet as it wound its way down a desolate country road. The headlights illuminated a narrow, winding stretch of asphalt surrounded by tall, swaying pines. The GPS had lost signal half an hour ago, and the closest sign of civilization was miles behind him. Simon Miller wasn't a man who liked unpredictability. As a software engineer working out of Seattle, his life was usually an organized string of routines. But tonight, after attending a friend's wedding in a remote part of Oregon, he had taken a wrong turn, twice, and now found himself on a dark, unfamiliar highway that wasn't on the map. He checked his phone again. No signal. The road ahead curved steeply, the dense forest pressing in on both sides. His grip tightened on the steering wheel. Should have booked that hotel room, he muttered, regretting his decision to drive back to the city the same night. The rain intensified, making it harder to see beyond the blurry windshield wipers. That's when he saw her. A figure stood on the side of the road, her outline barely visible in the heavy downpour. She was drenched, wearing what looked like an old-fashioned white dress that clung to her slender frame. Her hair was dark, sticking to her face, and she held out her thumb in a classic hitchhiking gesture. Simon's heart skipped a beat. Who in their right mind would be out here, in the middle of nowhere, hitchhiking in a storm? He hesitated, foot hovering over the brake. His mother's warnings about picking up strangers flashed in his mind, but something about the woman tugged at him. She looked so small, so vulnerable in the storm. He slowed the car to a crawl and rolled down the window just enough to speak. "Hey, are you okay?" The woman didn't respond. She stood still, her eyes locked onto his, her face pale and devoid of emotion. There was something unsettling about her expression, but Simon couldn't just leave her there. "Do you need a ride?" he asked, raising his voice over the pounding rain. She nodded slowly, stepping closer to the car. Water dripped from her hair and down her arms, and Simon felt a chill run down his spine. He unlocked the passenger door. As she slid into the seat, the scent of damp earth and something metallic filled the car. The woman's dress was soaked through, and she didn't say a word as she buckled herself in. Simon glanced at her, but her face was turned away, staring out the window into the night. "Where are you headed?" he asked, trying to keep his voice calm. She didn't answer immediately. After a long pause, she whispered, "Just up the road." Her voice was barely audible, but Simon caught the words. He nodded, turned the heat up, and continued driving. For the next few miles, the silence in the car grew thick, punctuated only by the rhythmic thudding of the rain. Simon couldn't shake the uneasy feeling creeping over him. He kept glancing at the woman, hoping she would say something more, but she remained silent, her gaze fixed on the darkness outside.